Yes, my friends, the Detroit Lions are on the radar, and Brad Holmes is committed to building a solid team for Dan Campbell. We've been waiting for the Lions to make it to the Super Bowl for a while now, and I hope it's this year. Do you think the Detroit Lions have the potential to make it? If so, hit that like button hard. If possible, comment something like, "I'm gonna see the Lions in the Super Bowl." I think the confidence we have is incredible. That's what the players need. We know that some give their all on the field, but others don't. May there be players this year with the blood in their eyes to make it to the Super Bowl. Well, let's analyze some recent moves. 2 new offensive weapons were just added to the roster, and while the offensive line remains untouched for now, these signings bring excitement and much-needed depth to key positions. First up, Kenny Yeboah. If you don't know his name yet, you're about to. A blocking tight end with 4 years of experience with the New York Jets, Yeboah is a big-bodied player who brings the kind of physicality the Lions need. He's not a flashy signing, but he fills a crucial hole in the tight end room. Right now, Detroit needs 3 solid tight ends, and while James Mitchell and Shane Zylstra have had their moments, neither has fully secured a role. Mitchell's injuries have slowed him down, and Zylstra has struggled to define himself as a receiving or blocking specialist. Yeboah steps in and rounds out the group. That's a big win. But the real headline here? Tim Patrick. That's a name you should be excited about. With the change at offensive coordinator, having a guy like Patrick, who already knows the system, is huge. This signing brings much-needed continuity to an offense that was already lethal last season. Patrick is the kind of veteran presence that elevates an entire unit. He's a true X-receiver, and after coming back from injury, he showed last season that he still has what it takes. By the end of the year, he was a key part of the offense, taking pressure off Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam LAPORTA while opening up opportunities for Jameson Williams. Speaking of Williams, let's just take a second to acknowledge how electric this guy is. Whether you love him or you're still on the fence, the facts are undeniable. He's a game changer. Speed, explosiveness, playmaking ability, he has all the tools to be special. And now, with Patrick in the mix alongside St. Brown and LAPORTA, this receiving core is stacked. Those 4 guys give the Lions one of the most dangerous skill position groups in the league. But the work isn't done. Detroit still needs to round out the wide receiver depth chart, and the options are intriguing. Could they target a veteran like Tyler Lockett or Brandon Cooks? Maybe, but the real action is likely coming in the draft. Wide receiver and defensive end are 2 areas where the Lions could add young talent. And here's the thing. Detroit is in an incredible spot when it comes to draft capital. Despite all the moves they made last year, trading up for Brian Branch and Giovanni Manu, among others, the team still has a solid collection of picks. And don't forget about that compensatory 4th rounder from the DeAndre Swift trade. That extra pick is a sneaky big deal. So what's next? Interior offensive line. That's the glaring need right now. The best name still available? Brandon Scherff. A 5-time Pro Bowler coming off his 3rd straight 17-game season with the Jaguars, Scherff would be the perfect 1-year stopgap to solidify the offensive line. That's exactly what Kevin Zeitler did for the Lions last season. Could Scherff be the next veteran to step in and do the same? It's a real possibility. And let's not forget about the defensive line. Zadarius Smith is still out there. Could the Lions bring him back? It's an option. But with the first wave of free agency behind us, Detroit might be looking elsewhere for reinforcements. Now, if you're still wondering how good this team really is, just look at last season. The Lions lost only 2 games all year by a combined total of 8 points. Think about that. 8 points away from perfection. They crushed Chicago, dominated Minnesota, went into San Francisco, and handled business. This team isn't just good. They're on the verge of something special. And don't sleep on the young guys. Mahogany, Wingo, and Vakey are going to play huge roles this season. Craig Reynolds is back, but what's his role? And what about Manu? After redshirting last season, this is his year to step up. Lions fans, this team is built to win, and these latest moves are just another step in the right direction. But what do you think? Are you excited about Tim Patrick and Kenny Yeboah? Should the Lions go all in on a veteran guard like Scherff, or look to the draft?
Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Big things are coming, and you won't want to miss a second of it. And here's where things get even more interesting. The Lions aren't just making moves for the sake of filling roster spots. They're being strategic. Every piece they've added this offseason has a clear purpose, and it all points to one thing. This team is going all in on a championship run. Think about it. The offense was already one of the most efficient in the league last season. Jared Goff had one of the best years of his career, Amon-Ra St. Brown was virtually unguardable, and rookie Sam LAPORTA quickly became a top-tier tight end. Now, with Tim Patrick in the mix and Jameson Williams continuing to develop, the passing attack has the potential to be even more dangerous. And then there's the run game. Detroit's identity is built around physical football, pounding the rock with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. The addition of a strong blocking tight end like Kenny Yeboah only reinforces that commitment. The Lions aren't looking to reinvent the wheel here, they're doubling down on what already works. But for all the positives on offense, the key to taking that next step might actually be on the other side of the ball. The defense made massive strides last season, but it still had its flaws, especially against the pass. This is where the draft becomes crucial. We already know that wide receiver and defensive end are priority positions, but what about cornerback? That's an area the Lions still need to address. Could they look to the draft for a young, dynamic playmaker in the secondary? It's a real possibility. And let's not forget, Detroit has the capital to make some serious moves if they want to. This front office has shown time and time again that they're not afraid to be aggressive. Whether it's trading up for Brian Branch last year or maneuvering around to secure key pieces, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have a vision, and they're executing it to perfection. And look, if you're still skeptical about how good this team really is, let's revisit last season one more time. The Lions didn't just win games, they dominated, crushing Green Bay, blowing out Jacksonville, dismantling Indianapolis. They weren't just beating teams, they were sending messages. And that's exactly what they're doing with these latest moves. Adding Tim Patrick? That's a signal that they're not settling. They're looking for that extra edge. Bringing in Yeboah? That's a sign that they're reinforcing their identity. This isn't a team that's content with just being good. They're chasing greatness. But here's the question. What do you think? Do these signings make the Lions a true Super Bowl contender? Should they make one more big move before the draft, or trust their picks to fill the remaining gaps? Let's hear it. Drop a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. The season is coming, and the Lions are ready to roar. And if you're still not convinced that the Lions are gearing up for something special, let's talk about the bigger picture. This isn't just about adding a couple of players to the roster. This is about fine-tuning a machine that was already one of the best in the NFL. The Lions aren't rebuilding. They aren't scrambling to fix holes. They are refining a team that was inches away from a Super Bowl appearance. Every move they make is calculated, designed to push them over the top. Take Tim Patrick, for example. This isn't just another depth signing. This is a veteran wide receiver who understands the offense, brings size to the perimeter, and takes pressure off the guys already in place. He's a player who fits perfectly within Ben Johnson's scheme, allowing the Lions to continue doing what made them so dangerous last season. More importantly, he brings reliability. When you get deep into the playoffs, when the games get tight, when the defenses get tougher, you need a guy like Tim Patrick who can make a tough catch in traffic, who knows how to find soft spots in coverage, and who can keep defenses honest. But let's be real, this offseason isn't done. There are still moves to be made. The Detroit Lions are for real. But now it's your turn. What do you think? Do these moves put the Lions over the top? Should they make one last big splash in free agency? What's the next piece of the puzzle? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe, because this ride is just getting started, and you do not want to miss what's coming next.